Should you take an extended break from drinking? Well, only you can answer that question as it pertains to you. However, I'm going to suggest four different, uh, I guess, phenomena in your life, if you will, that if you are seeing these on a semi-consistent, recurring basis, probably a good idea to think about taking an extended break from drinking. So, what are they? Number one, if you're thinking about drinking often, you're thinking about looking forward to drinking, you're constantly ruminating about ensuring you have enough on hand, thinking about some event you're going to attend and wanting to make sure that they're going to have what you want to drink, or possibly figuring out how you're going to be able to bring what you want to drink on your own. Um, Thinking about alcohol maybe just a little too much, a little more than the average person, and it's just become something that's maybe a lot more important to you in your thinking and thought processes than it used to be. And that's number one. Number two, you've created rules for yourself around your drinking, but you've broken those rules. And you may not have broken them every time. There may be some times when you're able to successfully stick to, whatever sort of guidelines you gave yourself. But if you are on some routine basis breaking those rules, and by rules I mean the things that we're probably all familiar with. For example, I'm only going to drink on the weekend, or I'm only going to drink beer and maybe wine, but I'm not going to drink hard liquor, or I'm only going to drink after 5 p.m., never before, or I'm going to have a glass of water in between every alcoholic beverage. Or when I'm out with my coworkers, I'm only going to have 2 drinks and that's it. And I'm going to cut myself off. Or I'm going to make sure I go to bed by 10 p.m. So therefore I'm going to have my last drink at 8 or 9 or whatever. Whatever your preferred set of rules and regulations are that you have given yourself, if you're finding that you are breaking those rules on some kind of regular basis, then yeah, I think an extended break is probably a good idea. And of course, it's not a knock at all on creating rules for yourself. But the thing about making rules is when we make those rules with the best of intentions, by and large, we're doing so when we're sober. And the challenge is we're trying to follow the rules while we're drinking. So therein lies the rub for a lot of us. Move on to number 3. You sometimes feel regrets about some of the things that you've said, or possibly some of the things that you've done while you're drinking. This could range from something minor. Maybe you just made a comment or said something, maybe sent a text. Maybe you were overly emotional, or I don't know, something about what you said or did just doesn't sit right with you and you wish you could take it back. And, obviously there could be far more significant or severe regret. You could, God forbid, harm yourself, crash a car, get a DUI, get arrested. There's a number of really, really bad things that could happen. But, one of the things about what I call middle of the road drinking, and that's kind of, my forte because it's what I used to do, and I think what a lot of people do, is, you don't necessarily have any earth-shattering life consequences as part of your drinking. If you did, you would probably it would be undeniable that you need to take action, stop drinking. But because a lot of the consequences are just sort of, they're there, but you just sort of learn to live with them and put up with them because you don't really want to stop what you perceive as the fun part about drinking. You just kind of let those things go. But if you do find yourself, if you're going to be really honest with yourself, regretting some of the things that you've said or done while you're drinking, well, I'd suggest that's another good reason to consider taking an extended break. All right, last, number 4. You routinely feel the after effects of your drinking episodes. And when I say episodes, I used to drink every single night, so it wasn't, I guess you could call it an episode. It was really just a daily part of my routine. And for a lot of folks, if your glass of wine has slowly morphed into consuming the entire bottle, first of all, you're not alone. So recognize that you're in good company there. It happens. Our tolerance builds up, and we need more than we used to get the same sort of buzz or happy place, whatever you want to call it, that we think we are accomplishing with the alcohol. But yeah, if you're frequently waking up feeling not the best, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a full scale hangover. I know a lot of people will swear that I don't get hangovers. Oh, okay, fair enough. Maybe you're not calling it a hangover, but it's a scientific fact that alcohol dramatically diminishes your rapid eye movement phase of sleep. Consequently, even if you're asleep for 6, 7, 8 hours, the quality of your sleep was impaired. And so, more than likely, you're waking up not feeling your best, just again, depending on how much you may have had the night before. But if you are recognizing the effects of your drinking after the fact, lower energy level, brain fog, need more coffee than normal, feel like you need a nap by, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, you're not getting as much done in your career, maybe you're slacking off on your fitness, or maybe not tending to some important tasks or projects or even just hobbies in your life, and you can draw a direct line back to drinking as the cause for this, these other sort of areas of life where you're not bringing your A game, then I'd consider that another good reason. So when I say an extended break, what do I mean by that? Because chances are, if your drinking is at this level at the moment, you've already taken some breaks, right? You might have taken a weekend off. You might have taken a whole week off. You might have even taken an entire month off. Maybe you did a dry January or a sober October or a dry July. And so when I say extended, I'm talking about more than a weekend or a week or even a month. I'm really talking about, I would say, an absolute bargain basement minimum of 100 days. And the reason for this is, that first few weeks off, if alcohol has been a regular part of your routine, whether daily or weekly, for a long enough period of time, the first couple of weeks off, your body is going to be sort of figuring things out. Probably going to feel a little weird. Now, I will say this, I'm not referring to full-scale withdrawals, physical withdrawal symptoms. That's not what I'm referring to. If you haven't been able to take a break from drinking recently of more than a day or two without withdrawal symptoms, meaning if you have started to experience withdrawal symptoms, then I don't recommend you do any sort of a break from drinking without consulting your healthcare provider. Because if you've crossed the threshold into physical dependence, that's a whole different ballgame, and it can be dangerous, and it's nothing to play around with. So do seek medical counsel and guidance and help if you are in that category. That is not my forte. I don't profess any expertise in the area of recovering from physical dependence on alcohol. I'm, I guess, fortunate that I didn't get to that point myself. I was into the psychological dependence territory, which millions of people are, whether they realize it or not. What I call middle of the road drinking, more than a social drinker, but less than an alcoholic. But by and large, most middle of the road drinkers, you can take a break, a day or two, week off, what have you. But that first couple of weeks is maybe going to feel kind of weird. Your sleep patterns might be thrown off a little bit. Just physically, socially, psychologically, you're going to maybe be a little bit off. So if you're only taking 30 days off, probably the majority of that 30 days is just the adjustment period. And so I would liken it to, let's say someone starts a new exercise regimen and they're out of shape and haven't exercised in many weeks or months or maybe even years, as you embark upon this new exercise program, well, quite frankly, it's probably going to suck. You're doing something your body is not used to, and you're going to be sore, and you're going to have poor stamina. Your cardio is going to be lacking. Your strength's probably going to be lacking. So that first several weeks is just a slog. You got to get through it. But once you do, and your body begins to adjust and then start cooperating with you and then actually start thriving, then you're probably going to feel better. You'll start to reap the benefits of that regimen. And similarly, with an extended break from alcohol, I feel like it takes a couple months to really start to feel normalized in that state. But also, for most of us who are over drinking, it's a habit that took a long time to take root, probably years. So it's not something you can unwind like that. You really do need some time to slowly reprogram your subconscious such that you can actually get a glimpse of what your life would really look like without alcohol. Not just temporarily, but what is it like to experience a social occasion alcohol-free? What is it like to experience a holiday or a vacation or a birthday or whatever occasion when you normally would have had a drink in your hand or several? In order to get to that point where you can clearly, without encumbrance of anxiety and just sort of, some people call it like white knuckling, really to get to the point where you can comfortably experience alcohol freedom, it takes a little time. And I'm not going to say even 100 days is going to get you there, because it's not. But it's kind of a bare minimum. Now, if you want to be an overachiever, go for a year. Why not? I mean, if you commit to a full year, you will have an opportunity to experience basically all of the holidays, on the calendar, the full cycle of, the new year, and then whatever other holidays throughout the year, depending on what country you're in. Your birthday, your spouse's birthday, anniversary, some vacations possibly, maybe some work engagements. So you'll really have an opportunity to experience all of these things alcohol-free, and then you can kind of decide, was it awful? Was it terrible? Did I still enjoy myself? And have a little bit more perspective and clarity than you would if you just sort of gunned through 30 days and then checked the box and said, okay, I'm good. I don't have a problem. See, I was able to do 30 days. I'm good. There's something about that full year, I think, that gives you perspective and can help you determine with better clarity, do I want to go back to drinking? Or is this actually superior for me? So, I also think that if you're going to give serious consideration to taking an extended break from alcohol, that you frame it in such a way that it is a positive thing rather than a difficult thing. A lot of the break from alcohol sort of programs or themes that you see out there on social media, it's a 30-day alcohol-free challenge, right? The word challenge, well, it sounds hard. You've got dry January. Well, dry doesn't sound very appealing, does it? So if you go into it perceiving it's going to be hard, well, guess what? It's going to be hard. So, and the reason for that is, by and large, 99% of a drinking problem is psychological. So I contend, therefore, that your best weapons to combat it are also psychological. And one of the ways that you can make an extended break from alcohol more appealing is to refer to it in terms that are more positive. I, for example, call it a sober vacation. I've been on a sober vacation closing in on 5 years now. And I feel like using that sort of terminology makes it something that you want to move toward rather than something that you're going to have to grin and bear it through. Because A vacation is something that we typically look forward to. We associate a vacation with being restorative and refreshing and relaxing. So, by calling your break from alcohol a sober vacation, you can maybe come up with your own term for it. That's the one that I use. It's a way to just see it as a benefit to you, a positive thing. And in a lot of ways, it actually is a vacation because if you're drinking too much on a regular basis, well, guess what? That's some damn hard work, isn't it? It certainly was for me. And I work with clients all the time who report the same findings that, over drinking on a regular basis is hard, man. It takes its toll. It's like a second job sometimes. So, removing that for a while, taking that sober vacation, allowing yourself to take that time and that energy and that money, quite frankly, and devote it to some other things that are maybe a little more constructive, some hobbies that have been on the back burner of your life. Maybe spend more time with your spouse or with your kids, with your pets. Maybe get outdoors a little more, or maybe just, read a book. Remember reading? I mean, it's kind of hard to do that while you're drinking. I guess it's possible. But yeah, so I think those are some things that if you're seeing those 4 things in your life on any sort of regular basis, you're probably a really good candidate to take that extended break from alcohol. Now, if you've already tried taking an extended break on your own and, maybe it didn't last as long as you wanted it to, or maybe you couldn't even get out of the starting blocks, you get a few days in and maybe a week or 2 in and you just end up going back to it. I can completely relate. I did it myself many times, nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, this is not an easy habit to break, but it can be done, and it's done every single day by lots of people. If you're looking for resources in this regard, check out my website, sobermentum.com. I have a lot of resources there that are specifically geared toward helping you get that sober vacation project off the ground, get momentum with it. And that's why I call it Sober Mentum, because you need momentum. Your momentum at this point in time, if you're drinking too much, has probably been in the direction of drinking. So you have to unwind that momentum, redirect it, and move it in the direction of alcohol freedom. And it's a little bit of a process, and it can be tricky, but 100% can be done. And, for me, I have found it to be one of the most fulfilling and rewarding accomplishments in my entire adult life. And again, I'm not someone who I feel was ever in the, quote unquote, alcoholic category. But nonetheless, even if it's just sort of a medium-sized drinking problem, it's still not easy to solve. And so this psychological approach and kind of rethinking how your relationship with alcohol is working and serving you or not serving you can be done best when alcohol is removed from your life in the form of a break or a sober vacation, if you will. With that said, I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next episode.